essential for developing sound policies. While on the forensic, Colombia's Revolutionary Armed Forces expressed readiness to engage government in peace talks. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Major Reports. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola. The World Bank says Nigeria's constant fiscal deficit has worsened the nation's public debt stock, with 96.3% of government revenue spent on servicing debt in 2022. This is according to the Macro Poverty Outlook for Nigeria, April 2023 brief released by the bank. The bank also said that the cash scarcity created by the CBN's Naira redesign policy hampered the country's economic growth and poverty reduction efforts, adding that about 30 million Nigerians would become poor between 2019 and 2025. It noted that Nigeria is in a more fragile position than before the late 2021 global oil price boom, claiming growth and poverty reduction have further been affected by cash scarcity. In the context of the Naira redesign, it also said the economy is projected to grow by an average of 2.9% per year between 2023 and 2025, only slightly above the population growth rate of 2.4%. The bank also stated that Nigeria growth will be driven by services, trade, and manufacturing, while oil production is projected to remain subdued, in part because of the inefficiencies and insecurity. The federal government has issued a strong plea to aviation unions to end their ongoing strike, which has caused immense disruption to air travel across the country. The government, through the Ministry of Aviation, also expressed its displeasure at the ongoing warning strike by the aviation unions, in spite of efforts at meeting the demands of the workers. The press and public relations of the ministry, Mr. Odutayo Oluseyi, noted that the strike is unnecessary as it will increase the hardship on the citizens, affect flight schedules, lead to economic losses, and negatively impact on the rating globally. Mr. Oluseyi, who spoke on behalf of the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, said the grievances prompted the strike by the unions are issues that should not lead to a strike. She added that the planned demolition of certain buildings obstructing the way is in the public interest and administrative issue that can be sorted in-house. The statement further noted that the unions should have met with the management of agencies for alternative accommodation to all affected offices before going ahead with the strike. The federal government of Nigeria has granted provisional approval for the R21 matrix malaria vaccine developed by the Oxford University. Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja. This came days after Ghana became the first country to approve the vaccine. Professor Adeyeye said the vaccine is indicated for prevention of clinical malaria in children from 5 months to 3 years of age under the prescribed storage temperature. She noted that the agency's pathway for registration of vaccines are in line with its guideline for registration of imported drugs, vaccines, IVDs, under collaborative registration procedure. The dust raised by the controversial rerun election conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission in Adamawa State has refused to settle, as more Nigerians have joined their voices in condemning the role played by the resident electoral commissioner in announcing the results when not fully collated. Some legal practitioners who spoke with Osbc News on the legal implications of the rerun poll, however, differ on the suspension of the process by INEC. Oluchi Amoda reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, conducted supplementary election in some parts of the country on the 15th of April, following the inability of the Commission to conclude elections in some states and constituencies to fill the vacancies in governorship, National Assembly and State House of Assembly positions. Out of all the rerun elections held across the country, the governorship election in Adamawa State took the shine. The reason is not far-fetched. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Unisa Ari, stoked nationwide confusion when he declared Aisha Binani of the All Progressive Congress, APC, governor-elect without disclosing official figures in line with electoral process, and when results have not been fully collated. The INEC reg was also alleged to have sidelined the returning officer Mohammed Mele and announced the fake results.
The APC so-called the highest vote.
No.
By that, Aisha Binani is hereby stand as elected as the governor of Adamawa State. Thank you very much.
INEC suspended the collation of results in Adamawa rerun election and also slammed the suspension on the rec. But Nigerians have not gotten over the confusion that ensued after the rec wrongly declared a winner. Some legal practitioners, including Mr. Tunde Babashola, Mr. Abimbola Ege, an election observer, Mr. Michael Ebofin, described the situation as the height of impunity and totally uncalled for. They maintained that the fact that an act emanated from a resident electoral commissioner who is also a lawyer made it more worrisome.
What is happening in Nigeria for now is impunity. There is impunity everywhere. People are just taking laws into their own hands. Probably because of, we now have a kind of something we can refer to now as an acronym. Where something happens now, the next thing you hear is go to court. And I think it is in the light of that the man also did that okay, if you are not satisfied with what I have done, even though I know what I am doing is illegal, you can go to court.
It was not the duty of the REC to announce the election results. It's the duty of the returning officer. And that is where the problem lies. Even if Binani had won that election, the return made by the REC is not known to the electoral act.
If that should happen, meaning that we are in trouble in Nigeria, and that is another thing that INEC should really look into. It's unfortunate that should even happen at the first instance when you have been having a process.
While reacting to the suspension of the electoral process in Adamawa rerun election, Mr. Ige faulted the process. According to him, the suspension has created a legal logjam which can only be determined by a court of competent jurisdiction.
Looking at it from the legal point of view, there's a lacuna. Once a return has been made, whether legally or illegally, it is the tribunal that has the power to set it aside. And that is where the problem lies. So, what happened in Adamawa has set in a legal logjam.
The duo of Mr. Babashola and Mr. Ige, however, agreed on the need to ensure that justice is fully served.
That is an offense. That's an offense. And I believe INEC should act swiftly or really to charge him to court. He should be tried for that offense. That is impunity. If he is not charged to court and tried, it will serve as a bad precedent for others.
I want to believe that most of our leaders, including the electoral officers, they do not know the implication of what they did. If they knew, perhaps they would have prevented the occurrence of such activity.
This, they maintained, will serve as deterrence to others and save Nigeria's democracy. Oluchi Amuda, Osbc News.
Meanwhile, the resident electoral commissioner Adamawa State, Malam Hudu Yunusa Ari, has been suspended by the national headquarters of INEC. A statement by the secretary to the commission, Rose Oriaron Anthony, asked the suspended REC to stay away from the commission's office in Adamawa State with immediate effect until further notice. The statement directed the administrative secretary to take charge of the activities in Adamawa State with immediate effect. Osun State government has described the population census as essential for assessing its economic, social, and demographic circumstances, as well as developing sound policies and programs aimed at fostering welfare of the country. This was disclosed by the Secretary to the Osun State Government, Alhaji Teslim Igbalaye, as the inauguration of Inter-Ministerial Committee on Year 2023 National Population and Housing Census. The SSG said Osun was undercounted in the previous census and charged the committee to appreciate the enormous tax which it is saddled with. He urged them to work out appropriate sensitization and mobilization strategies for the people of Osun State and about the activities of the national population and census exercise. Alhaji Balayi further appealed to the committee to come up with relevant publicity programs to be broadcast on electronic media and published in print media. The President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been urged to develop agriculture in reviving the economy. President All Progressives Farmers Association Chief Ogu Douglas said this in Abuja, noting that developing agriculture could create employment for over 60% of the youth. According to him, the outgoing government of President Muhammadu Buhari has no proportional results to show for the money it released to the agri sector, as the fund went into the wrong hands. Douglas, who recalled that Nigeria became the giant of Africa through agriculture, regretted that with the advent of oil, the country abandoned its age-long economic mainstay, describing agriculture as a veritable tool for cushioning the impact of insecurity in the country. He noted that it could reduce unemployment by absorbing most idle youths into the sector. In the meantime, agricultural experts have identified irrigation system of farming as the surest way combating food insecurity and ensuring food sufficiency. Those who spoke with Osbc News in separate interviews against the backdrop of the seasonal farming being practiced in the southern parts of the country, however, warned farmers not to be too quick in planting some certain crops. Oluwadamilola Adebayo Jeje has the details.
Farming in Nigeria, especially in the southern part of the country, has always been an activity that is controlled by the seasons. Due to this, farmers are only restricted to propagate their crops mostly during the season. This has become a source of concern to agriculturists who feel that the world is moving on a fast lane and technology playing a major role in the advancement of the sector. Hence, the need to embrace technology in the farming process is needed. An agriculturist and state chairman of Cassava Farmers Association of Nigeria, Dr. David Ogunsade, and agricultural engineer from Osun State University, Dr. Lamid Agumbiade, while speaking in separate interviews with Osbc News, said that some crops such as yam tubers and vegetables can be planted now, but however warned against the planting of maize except on farmland that are close to the rivers or streams.
The rain has taken the same pattern like last year. For this time, you can plant even yam, vegetable, all type of vegetables, onion, melon. The only crop I will advise our farmers not to gamble with right now is maize, because of our past experience.
The experts who spoke on the need for government intervention in the agricultural sector, most especially in the southern parts of the country, mentioned that even countries such as Israel and Libya, who have more deserts than arable land, have embraced technology in the sector.
The government should help so that maybe they can raise up some form of committees, maybe small committees within different localities, so that they'll be able to identify various places where this farming system, this irrigation can still be can be planned.
They also spoke on the need for southern governors to stop paying lip service to agricultural development in the region. Oluwadamilola Adebayo reporting for Osbc News.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Federal Capital Territory Command, has seized 2,265.677 kilograms of different drugs between January and March this year. The FCT commander of the agency, Mr. Kabir Sakuwa, made this known today in Abuja, adding that NDLEA operatives also arrested 123 suspects for drug-related offences in the territory within the period under review. He said that the drugs seized were cannabis sativa, cocaine, psychotropic substances, among others. Sekowa said the command had admitted 20 drug users for counseling and rehabilitation in the same period. The NDLEA boss said the command is making efforts to check drug issues in FCT, adding that the agency will continually dislodge black spots through raid operations. He also stated that the command would also collaborate with other sister agencies like the military, Nigeria Police, NSCDC, FRSC, and DSS through intelligence sharing and joint operations. According to him, more collaboration with the media will be used to create awareness and preventive drug abuse, and education programs will be looked into. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced a total of 1,336 suspected cases of cholera, including 79 deaths so far in 2023. The NCDC disclosed this in its latest cholera situation epidemiological report, revealing that 12 states across 43 local government areas reported the suspected cases with a case fatality ratio of 5.9%. The 12 states reporting cases in the country are Abia, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Cross River, Ebonyi, Kano, Katsina, Niger, Ondo, Osun, Sokoto, and Zamfara. Cholera is an acute diarrheal illness caused by infection of the intestine with Vibrio cholerae bacteria. People can get sick when they swallow food or water contaminated with the bacteria. According to the World Health Organization, at least 24 countries continue to report cholera cases. The World Bank troops of forward operation, a component of Operation Adari Daji in Zamfara State, have repelled an attack on Anka Town, Anka local government area of the state, killing one bandit. It was gathered that the military troops acted on intelligence reports of a planned bandit attack on the town. They said operatives battled the bandits in a gun duel that lasted several hours. Sources within the military also said the troops conducted a fighting patrol against the terrorists at Ungwa Mirakumi village in Anka local government area where the operation took place. Reports said the troops overpowered the terrorists and forced them to retreat. One bandit was killed in the gun battle. One motorcycle, one AK-47, and large quantities of ammunition were recovered from the criminals. President Muhammadu Buhari has called for a ceasefire in Sudan following the fight that broke out in the country's capital Khartoum between the military and paramilitary. Speaking during a visit to him in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, by the transitional president of Chad, General Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, President Buhari described the fight between the rapid support forces as unwelcome. The two leaders reviewed the unfortunate situation and called on all neighboring countries and the international communities to prevail on the warring sides to stop fighting and negotiate. President Buhari acknowledged that the situation in Sudan is unfortunate, adding that Sudan deserves peace after all it had gone through. He commended the Chadian leader for his efforts to see a calming down and for them to live peacefully. You are welcome to our sports segment. Nigeria will face Niger Republic, Togo, and Burkina Faso in Group B of the maiden edition of the 2023 WAFU B Under-20 Girls Cup. The report says Ghana women national teams the draw held at WAFU B headquarters in Abidjan today. It added that Ghana is paired in Group A alongside Benin Republic and Cote d'Ivoire. The maiden edition of the WAFU B Under-20 Girls Cup is scheduled for Kumasi from May 20 to June 4 this year. While on the foreign scene, Colombia's disbanded Revolutionary Armed Forces said they are ready to engage in peace talks with the government next month to mark a turning point for leftist President Gustavo Petro quest for total peace. Olawumi Okonlawo has details of the story and more.
Spokeswoman for the Estado Mayor Central Armed Group, Angela Escuedo, told newsmen that they are delegates to the dialogue table with the Colombian state headed by the national government are ready for May 16 of this year. President Petro, a former member of the urban rebel group M19, pledged to end 6 decades of an armed conflict that has killed more than 450,000 people by signing peace or surrender agreements with rebels and criminal gangs, also to fully implementing the pact with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. In another development, human rights activists have criticized Ethiopia's continuing recruitment of women for domestic work in Saudi Arabia. Since the 80s, Ethiopians have been flocking to Saudi Arabia, Lebanon and Kuwait in search for blue-collar jobs, mostly arranged by local Ethiopian recruitment agencies or human traffickers. In early 2020, Saudi Arabia temporarily banned labor migration from Ethiopia to curb the spread of COVID-19. The ban was lifted in February and Ethiopia authorities launched their recruitment drive. This time, the Ethiopia government is overseeing this entire process, including recruitment and advertising. However, federal officials are also hailing the program as a life-saving endeavor, highlighting the dangers Ethiopians face on perilous journeys along migrant corridors through Yemen and Djibouti. Olawumi Okonlawo, Osbc News.
And to end the major report, here's a recap of some of the top stories. The World Bank has stated that the Central Bank of Nigeria's Naira redesign policy hampers the nation's economic growth. We also brought you a report that Osun State government has described the population census as essential for developing sound policies and programs for the country. While on the foreign scene, we reported that Colombia's Revolutionary Armed Forces has expressed readiness to engage government in peace talks. And that ends the major report on Osbc TV. It was edited by Adibari Jumakinde. I am Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola. Thank you for being there, as always. Good night.